Frankly speaking, even with the 10 years of experience, I was clueless how to solve this data.
That you are a very much enthusiast into the fitness part as well.
And that's where industry needed to shift from traditional algorithm to machine learning algorithm.
So do you see like the investments are going to rise in this domain?
That's the evolution, I'll say, from analytics to machine learning, then deep learning, AI, and then now Gen AI. So that's where the point is, not everything can be solved using AI. There is some limitation, but you can't be completely dependent on AI.
So you are saying like when we will combine the artificial intelligence with the emotional intelligence, that is where it will be more operating into the artificial general intelligence. While reading so many things, right, going through the blogs, etc. and all, how do you confirm that information is correct? Welcome back to another episode of Techie Talks with Kuldeep, and excited to have Mr. Madhukar Kumar joining us today. With over 2 decades of IT leadership roles at various organizations such as GE, MX, WNS, ST Media, he is currently the founder and CEO of AIOENIX, where he is helping the client with the machine learning and AI programs. Madhukar, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kuldeep.
Before we start our conversation, could you share your experiences and learning with our audience?
Thanks, Kuldeep. Thanks for inviting me to the podcast. I am Madhukar Kumar and have done my graduation in mathematics honors from Hindu College, Delhi University, and then did my masters in applied statistics and informatics from IIT Bombay. So right from initial days, I was very good at maths, and also I was very inclined also. So when I was doing my graduation at in mathematics honors from Hindu College, it was mostly pure mathematics. Then that's what I realized, that I'm more interested in applied, and that's where when I joined IIT Bombay, that course applied statistics and informatics, it was a very good blend of mathematics and statistics and computer science. So I'll say 20-25% of mathematics, 35 to 40% of statistic, and remaining would be the computer science courses. So we learned a lot of computer science languages like Perl, Shell, Java, C, C++, Fortran, MATLAB, SAS, and whatnot. So that's how the course was the right mix, where I got all the ingredients which I required to be successful in this analytics or AI field. And then post my masters, I got placed in American Express, and that was my first company. And in fact, my first project was to build a cross-sell upsell model for their gold credit card customers who have high likelihood to take platinum credit card. And I'm talking about 2006, and there I had applied a supervised classification technique to build that cross-sell model for all the customers who had high likelihood to take platinum credit card. So it was for every customer, you get the probability whether that customer would pick the credit card new offer or platinum credit card or not, right? So that was my first project. So that's what I keep on saying, that I have not changed my career. Right from day one, I am into this analytics field only. So within 6 to 8 months time frame at Amex, I became one of the best modeler in my team. So across all the different geographies, we used to build models, and team used to build model, and then you used to come to me, and I did all the tweakings, and then it used to go to the stakeholders. So I built close to 20 cross-sell upsell models for different geographies at Amex. Then after 1 year, I moved to G-Money, Hyderabad, where they were trying to set up a risk analytics division, and there I built risk models. One of the very notable, I recall, was a development of true name fraud model, which was to capture fraudulent customers at the application phase, where I had applied reject inferencing concept to include the decline population in the overall population, to build the model to remove the biasness. So that was also very interesting stint, again analytics role. Amex, it was marketing analytics, and G-Money, it was risk analytics. And then I joined WNS, where at that point of time they had cracked a deal with a US based bank, And my role was to build the team from scratch, marketing analytics team from scratch. So, I was the first member of the team, and then build 20-member team from scratch. So it was like 4 different division. It was a modeling unit, then, it was a web analytics and a business insight team, and then MIS and reporting team. So all the team leads used to report to me. But again, while I was building the team, I was very much, hands-on modeler for that role as well. So I always used to keep one of the most complex project to me, where I did not used to take any help from anyone, and I used to interact with my stakeholders on a daily basis on that particular project. So I was in this role for 3.5 years, and still recall one of the very complex project that I did at that point of time. For mortgage customers, for that particular bank, they wanted to understand, who are the customers who have high likelihood to refinance the mortgage product, right? But that we built using logistic regression. But again, the next challenge that came was like, so my onshore manager, he told me that, Madhukar, so now we know the probability that this customer would refinance the product or not, but can you tell me when this customer is going to refinance? So now the time element comes into the picture, and when the time element comes into the picture, all the supervised classification technique, goes to a toss. So then, I used to work with the guy who had 15 years of, modeling experience. And, he said, Madhukar, I have never worked on survival model, so I can't help you. So you are on your own. And that's where, I did a lot of R&D. And at that point of time, we used to code in SAS. And, I had to do a lot of R&D because at that point of time, I had so many friends working in different banking industry, but no one, had actually build a survival model in the banking scenario. So that was more prevalent in healthcare industry. For cancer related patients, you build survival model, etc. But banking, it was new. So I had to do a lot of R&D and then ultimately build a survival model which actually gave us the month over month, probability of default for all customers. So that was one of the very good project that I did. And then, after 3.5 years, I started managing the whole advanced analytics operation for WNS. And then, at that point of time, I think way back in 2014, there was a very interesting project that came from Australia, and 5 different companies were working on that RFP. And it was again the same problem for their mortgage customers. They had lost close to 60% account in terms of volume and value both, to their top 3 competitors. And then they wanted to understand, who are the customers who are going to refinance. And again, the next was, when they are going to refinance. But again, that was only the 2 phases. But again, the data was super complex. So we had got 24 different files, and frankly speaking, even with the 10 years of experience, I was clueless how to solve this data, and still recall, it took me close to 10 days, just to visualize, how I'll create the final data set on which I'll build the model. And, when I got the clarity, then, I got the confidence that, okay, I'll kill this, I'll, win this client and, ultimately build the model. And ultimately we won first Australian banking logo for WNS way back in 2014. Then next noticeable stint was Upgrad, where I built their first data science course for their first batch. And from there onwards, my academic career also started. I started teaching AI and machine learning to experienced professionals. I've trained more than 1,000 experienced professionals in AI and machine learning. And again, after Upgrad, after working for 8-10 months, 10 months I guess. Once we finished that building that course, I again joined WNS as chief data scientist. And then, one of the top 5 US insurer had, approached us, and they wanted to create a solution. They wanted us to create a solution on, on insurance side. So, it was on image analytics side. So the problem was like, it was for rooftop damage, due to hailstorm. So whenever, any such, I'll say request used to come to them, then they had to send a manual surveyor, and then manual surveyor used to climb to the rooftop. Again, it was very risky because it was slanted. In US, the rooftops are slanted, and then second, because it was manual, so it was very costly, right? So then they said, we'll fly drones. Drone will capture the images, and can you apply machine learning and deep learning to analyze the extent of damage and can guide us, what should be the compensation, right? So there they did not share any data with us. So we built the complete solution, and they liked it a lot. And then I decided why not to build a product onto it.
Okay.
And then I'll not get into the nitty-gritties, but we built the product, and that product got NASSCOM AI Game Changer 2018 award in in 2018, and also Stevie Best Product Award in London.
Okay.
Then I moved to Hindustan Times, joined one of their business unit, Shine, as Chief Analytics Officer. That was also a very beautiful stint for close to 3 years, where build the analytics team or AI team from scratch, worked on cutting edge technologies, as well as building very beautiful products like we built in-house CV parser, in-house JD parser, and then did the matching, so candidate and job matching, right? And we build application relevance score. So different solutions and products we built at Shine. So, and then for a brief stint, 1.5 years, I worked for EY as executive director, and then since I'll say Jan last year, I've started my own company called AIOENIX. Okay. So that's a brief journey.
Okay. So in this brief journey, you have touched on the technology part, and I think this is where you have been into this era from the day one, and also you have built those teams, etc. as well. But one thing which I have seen from your LinkedIn and the other posts, that you are a very much enthusiast into the fitness part as well.
Yeah.
So could you tell us more about that, how it got started and what you are doing nowadays?
Yeah. So that's very interesting journey. Thanks for asking, Kuldeep. So I'll say, this journey is more exciting as compared to my, AI journey.
Okay.
So, I, since childhood, I was a very studious guy.
Okay.
I was never into sports, never.
Okay.
So, in 2019 somehow, but, I was like I'll say I was stubborn, so any particular thing I used to pick, and then I tried to excel. So like for example, I was never into academics, and then started academics 2016 onwards, and I became very good at it. And that's how in 2019 what happened, like I was coming back from office, and my wife brought this weighing scale, and I took the measurement, it was 90 kg. Okay. And then I realized that I have to do something on it. And then it just started as a it's as a fun, like I'll run 1 half marathon this year, and that's all. But then there was no looking back. So I registered for 10K Amity, and then New Delhi marathon, again it was 10K in Feb, completed that, and on 21st April I registered for 21K, tough man half marathon, and completed that. So I can say that from 0 kilometer to 21 kilometer I reached in 3 months time frame. Then August, there was a Olympic triathlon that was being organized in Gurgaon. So I participated in that. It was 1.5 kilometer swimming, and then 40 kilometer cycling, and then 10 kilometer running. Again, but again, this was like swimming in pool, not open water swimming. So I completed that, and there onwards, I thought I will do Ironman someday. That thought came into my mind after doing this Olympic triathlon. And in that year I particularly must have completed 7 to 8 half marathons as well.
Okay.
And then next year, Feb 2020, so in 2019 I had registered for 10K New Delhi marathon event, and next year instead of 21K I registered for 42K.
42K.
So within a year I moved from 0 to 42K. And then COVID came, so 1.5 years it was not too much of activity. But next year 2022 I did my Ladakh full marathon, 42 kilometers. So that's a different beast altogether, because oxygen is just 50%, and so that's what I finished that full marathon in Ladakh. Next year 2023 I decided to do ProCam Slam. So which is like, in a calendar year, you have to do the max running event, maximum distance in all the 4 running events, which is, Tata Mumbai, then TCS Bangalore, then Vedanta Delhi and Calcutta. So the maximum distance in all these events, if you do in calendar year, then you are entitled with, you're given the title of Program Slam. So I did that in 2023. And then next year again, which was my dream, was, I registered for Ironman. But again, Ironman 70.3 in Goa, it was 1.9 kilometer swimming in sea, and then 90 kilometer cycling, and then 21 kilometer running. So I didn't have the confidence of open water swimming. So I went to Varanasi in June, and then I crossed Ganges 7 times in 5 days. So that gave me the confidence that I can do open water swimming. And then did my Goa Ironman Goa. Again, a different story altogether. I got jellyfish bite, etc., but somehow I finished that. And this year, I'm planning to do a super randonnée. It's like, in one calendar year, if you do 200 kilometer, 300 kilometer, 400 kilometer and 600 kilometer cycling, then you get the super randonnée title. So I have done 200 kilometer on 26th of April. Hopefully we'll do this, remaining 300, 400, 600 this year. And next year I'm planning to do a full Ironman, which is, 3.8 kilometer swimming, then 180 kilometer cycling, and then 42 kilometer running, which needs to be completed in 17 hours.
Okay. And then the full Ironman is something you need to go outside of India to complete that?
It doesn't, they don't organize in India, because India, it's only half Ironman.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. And from there, like, you have already started this startup journey, right?
Yeah.
So what is the focus of the startup? What are the day-to-day activities, etc., which you are doing in this?
So first, let me tell you that, it looks very fancy. Startup, everyone nowadays, everyone wants to, move to this startup thing. And this again, I still remember my conversation with my ex-boss in GE days, when I was just having 2 years of experience, and I had said that, I want to start something on my own, and it took me, 18 years.
18 years, yeah.
Right. And, honestly speaking, I have enjoyed all my stint in job, in all the, companies wherever I had worked, barring 1 or 2, I'll say, all the stints, I had something which I can proudly say that I was pretty much satisfied, building this product or services for the client, etc., etc. So I was pretty satisfied there, So I'll not say that, this is something everyone should be doing that. I'm not in that, everyone should jump this, leave job and get to this startup, because it's a different ball game altogether. And again, for me, like, it happened. So it's been 1.5 years with AIOENIX, and there are 3 things primarily I'm focusing on. So first is, academics, is very close to my heart. Teaching, I love teaching, and, interacting with young minds and, understanding their challenges, day-to-day challenges, what they are focusing like, So there is a lot of need to bridge the gap between academia and industry. And I'm very vocal about it, for the past 10 years. So right now, for the past, I'll say 3-4 months, I have been visiting many colleges, delivering AI sessions, demystifying AI, I'll say. Okay. So point is, there's a lot of proud of, techies in these, learning these jargons, which needs to be demystified, and which needs to be told that, you should be focusing on problem solving.
Yes.
Not, on these jargons, etc. These are just tools to solve the business problem, right? So my, because academics is very close to my heart, so, I'm, interacting with, I'm visiting different colleges, and, we'll start teaching. So for example, IIT Bombay is my alma mater, where, Professor Krishnan, who is the HOD of Maths department, he has requested me to, teach AI courses at IIT Bombay, which hopefully I'll start from next semester onwards. And there are other couple of other colleges as well where I'm in touch, so where I'll start teaching, AI or Gen AI courses in these colleges. So that's point one, academic, because now I have time and bandwidth, I don't have to take permission from anyone, I can do that. So that's point number one. Second is, when I have jumped the ship from corporate career to entrepreneurship, I realized, because erstwhile, I never felt that, but now I know that most important and difficult skill is the sales skill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and if you'll ask me, everyone should have this skill, and that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, so I'm trying to create a sales network across the globe. So right now, if I'll talk about geographies, US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand and Middle East. So these are the markets, where I have connects and, where we are in touch with, senior folks or consulting firms where, we are trying to sell product and services which we are having here to these geographies. And India anyways, I have experience in India. So, here I am covering it. So this is the sales part. And third is a fractional CXO role for, various startups who are interested in, having my data science skill. So again, I'm not taking any equity, etc. I have said no, I'm not interested joining as a co-founder, but again, as an advisory role, I'm doing that. So primarily I'll say three things that I'm focusing on in terms of when I'm saying that I'm focusing on creating sales network. If projects comes, who will do the execution, and that's where Sarabjot is a good friend, and I have partnered with Tatras. So they have a very good execution team, data science and data engineering. I'll say 150 plus data science team, and I have seen the kind of skill set that they bring on the table, right? So even after working for 18 years building different teams, the skill set is unparalleled, right? So that's what the project execution part is sorted, So whenever the project comes, this team would do the execution. So that's how I'm focusing on at AIOENIX.
Madhukar, so when you started your journey, right? So this might be the word like the data science, right? Now then the shift came to the machine learning and now to the AI. So how do you see this thing from your start of the career to now where you are currently working, and what's the future look like in this area?
Great. So I'll go a step back. So when I started, approximately 2 decades back, it was mostly analytics, analytics or advanced analytics, whatever you say. So, and those point of time, mostly we used to code in SAS. So the whole industry were coding in SAS, and then it was mostly traditional algorithms that we were using, and mostly the problems, industry problems were binary problems, like whether the customer will take the card or not, will respond to this offer or not, whether the customer will default or not default, so on and so forth, so mostly the problems were binary problem, where you could have applied logistic regression, which is again a supervised classification technique, a traditional algorithm. So linear regression and logistic regression, 95% of the industry problems were being solved using these traditional algorithms at that point of time, and it was analytics, okay. And I'll say 4 or 5 years it was the same, when I started in 2006 till 2010-11 it was same, then I'll say the unstructured, and mostly the data was structured. So when I'm saying structured data, any data that you can put in an Excel sheet and can do the analysis. So mostly the data was structured, and the problem was you can use linear and logistic regression to solve the problem. Then I think 2011-12 onwards, unstructured data started coming into the picture, right?
Because of digitization.
Yeah, and unstructured data the text, image, video, audio, all these started coming into the picture. And then for solving problems related to this unstructured data, then the traditional algorithms called like linear regression, logistic regression were not able to solve the business problem, right? And that's where industry needed to shift from traditional algorithm to machine learning algorithm. And all this machine learning and deep learning were not invented in 2011-12. Okay. They were invented way back in 1950s.
Okay.
But industry did not need to use it because the problems were not complex. But once the problems, the industry started when the research industry had to, focus on solving complex business problems, then they resort to, machine learning and AI. So then it was like, for solving unstructured data, the industry shifted from analytics to machine learning. And then, when you start solving, unstructured problems related to unstructured data, and then slowly, the demand for more accuracy started coming into.
Exactly.
And that's where, you started shifting from machine learning to deep learning.
Okay.
Where, deep learning is just mimicking human brains, right? And, if you are using deep learning, then you get accuracy to the tunes of, 98%, 99%, so on and so forth. When, using traditional algorithm, if you could have got this kind of accuracy, then you say that, model is not good, right? But now, everyone got used to this 95, 98% accuracy, and if you start going back to traditional algorithm, you will never be able to satisfy clients' demand, right? So that's how industry shifted from, from analytics to machine learning, deep learning, and AI, So, and then, I think, and then it was like building transformer models, etc. And, chat GPT. So, the Gen AI thing, or the Gen AI revolution, I'll say, started in November 2022, right?
Yeah.
When chat GPT, because, chat GPT became viral.
Yeah.
And it was not the first version, first version and second version came earlier, but, they were not successful. And that's where the chat GPT 3.5 became, viral. And that's how, people started understanding, okay, so now there's something called Gen AI. Now there's something called transformer, foundation models, Then people started talking about it. Now the point is transformer models, etc. were not invented after 22, So even I still recall, when I was working with ST Media, we were building the CB parser, and we had used BERT model. BERT was also a transformer model, right? So industry were using transformer models earlier also, but it was like wow moment that everyone now understands everyone had heard about transformer models.
Maybe they were able to use also. Earlier the power was not in their hand.
So AI and Gen AI, so Gen AI is creating new content. So all these transformer models is creating new content, whether it's text or image or audio, they are creating new content, or even music, So that Gen AI is new content, right? So again, that's the evolution, I'll say, from analytics to machine learning, then deep learning, AI, and then now Gen AI, right? And building foundation models. So now coming back to like let's say, for example, how it is going to evolve, right? So that's what the point is. You will see, anyways, you must have seen that, there are a lot of startups that is coming, and they are into this space, building foundation model, So DeepSeek came into, so their main business was not to build, foundation models, but, they had procured a lot of GPUs and, as a side hustle, your side project, they started building, and that also became a revolution. So point is, you'll see many new players working in this, building the foundation model. Even India is, focusing on building foundation model or multi models, catering to Indian people, right? So there's a lot of shift that is going to happen, so many startups would start coming in, and then you'll also see a lot of open source model, the gap between the gap in the performance between open source model and closed proprietary models would be very little.
Okay.
So that's what and then the benefit of that would be any new company or any company particularly can take this, open source model and can fine tune to their needs. So that would be very interesting moment.
So do you see like the investments are going to rise in this domain continuously?
Yeah, you can already see the kind of investment that is happening, even without without MVP, companies or startups are raising, billions, without MVP, just because, you have the name and, you're working on AGI or Gen AI products, So a lot of VCs are, investing money in building these kind of products, But again, how unit economic works, that's a separate thing, one needs to think about it, right? Because businesses have to, have to be profitable.
Exactly.
right? If you're not profitable, how long you will sustain? So that would be a challenge, and that would be interesting space to look into.
Yeah. And I think you touched a very interesting point is about the business dynamic, because due to this generative AI specifically, even though we might be say like it will do, but we don't know because what type of the new information will be generated, and that is where they are going to leverage it, right? Because so far the machine learning, deep learning, etc., we were having a problem space and then we were having a solution space. But in this, the solution space is now so wide that you can do so many new things.
Yep, completely agree. Again, the challenge is like, with this Gen AI's, in this Gen AI space, you'll see the real information and the fake information. How to differentiate between that. Like for example, hallucination is a much bigger problem. And like ChatGPT and other models through all this information, and with a confidence that you'll assume that okay, this is the right information, and once you start verifying it, then you realize that 80% of it is incorrect. So hallucination is the biggest problem, right? How you are going to solve it? Again, there's a lot of work that is going on, but the challenge is nowadays it's very difficult to differentiate between what is real and what is not real. That's very difficult at this point of time.
So the intelligence might sound like it is real, but in fact when you verify it is not.
Just as an example, team was working on a client project, and it was just simple, like they asked ChatGPT to generate 10 different reference books for a particular book or author, and then ChatGPT came up with 10 different books. And you will see all the nice titles, etc. And when the team started looking into, none of the books really exist. None of the book really exists out of the 10. But the problem is, you don't have time to go and verify.
Do the fact checking.
So how many times to do the fact checking?
Exactly.
Most of the time, I was just traveling, and then somehow I happened to talk to a student, and she was saying that nowadays what is happening, that all the assignments, students are using ChatGPT for completing the assignment, and then what happened, like one student got caught that you have used ChatGPT for doing the assignment, and that student sued the institute. How can you fail me? Right? So assignments being created by teachers, and they also must be using ChatGPT. Students are using ChatGPT for completing the assignment. So this is a whole circle. The point is, you have to do the fact check. You have to, I'm not saying not to use this. You have to use this, but use AI or make AI your assistant, not your boss. Whatever AI says need not be true. Right? So that's where you need to apply your intelligence on top of it. Right? So there's no harm using all these models, all the ChatGPT, etc. But the point is, on top of it, your brain has to function. Because the bigger problem that I can see is like people stop thinking. Like let's say if you have been given a business problem and then you directly go to ChatGPT asking how to solve it, then that's a bigger problem. So for example, you come up with 4 or 5 different templates, and then you need to apply whether this works or not, whether this will work or not, and what on top of it, how I should modify, what are different solutions I should be thinking about. If you just stop applying your brain, then that's a bigger problem. And this will be a bigger problem for the coming generation.
Yes.
We have crossed that stage. We have applied your brain, solved the business problem from scratch, right? Remember I was telling that for that Australian client, I had to spend 10 days just to think about how I'll structure the data, how I'll structure these 24 files, and come up with the one final table on which I'll apply the model. So I spent close to 10 days. Nowadays, do you think that anyone will spend 10 days just to structure the data? No one has time. But the point is, that was a fruitful exercise. You have to apply your brain for solving a business problem. If everything is coming onto your plate, so that's a bigger problem. Then AI will become your boss. Day in, day out, you are hearing that people are being fired because of AI, etc., etc. But again, not everything can be solved using AI. And one of the companies, I think just a couple of days back, last year they fired 700 employees, and that AI will work on all those projects. And this year, the CEO is calling back all these employees because AI is not able to, that kind of, AI is not able to give that kind of sophistication when it comes to, interacting with customers, etc., etc. So that's where the point is, not everything can be solved using AI. There is some limitation, but you can't be completely dependent on AI. So you have to apply your brain, and that's a bigger challenge that I see. And like for example, now we are talking about AGI. And think about it. If emotional intelligence will also be empowered or given to AI, then what will be the situation? And that's a bigger worry.
So you are saying, like, when we will combine the artificial intelligence with the emotional intelligence, that is where it will be more operating into the artificial general intelligence.
And that's a bigger problem. And there's a lot of debate happening across the globe that the government should intervene and stop R&D on this AGI, right? Because nowadays it's happening that a lot of job losses are ongoing, etc., etc. But the point is, if I don't know, because people are claiming, all these guys who are working, they are claiming that by 2026 end we'll have a successful AGI, and that's a bigger problem if that happens.
And Madhukar, like, you do have around this 2 decades plus experience, but what I have seen is you keep yourself up to date with the latest tools, technology, and the innovations happening in this space. What are some of the methods which you use to keep yourself up to date?
Yeah, good. So I read a lot. So and so information is everywhere. So thankfully, a decade back when I was building this AI career, AI course, that was a good turning point, I'll say, in my career, because prior to that, mostly I was using logistic regression, and then when I was building that course, I built all the taught all the different algorithms, right? Supervised classification, and then supervised regression, and supervised, close to 12-15 algorithms, So that's where the learning habit also started, So I read a lot, and there are lots and lots of blogs, you can go and refer, and you can keep yourself updated. You can read research paper as well, But again, research paper, unless you are too much into mathematics, etc., you won't be able to decipher. But there are so much tech blogs that you can refer to. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, because I am also very interested in academics, and teaching is very close to my heart. So when you teach, you learn also, right? So first you need to do a lot of learning, create a course, and then teach. And in the classroom, there are a lot of questions that is being asked, and then when you are answering, you are also learning, right? So it's a continuous upgradation approach that happens when you are teaching, right? And the third is like, because in this space, I'll say that R&D is going to the mainstream. It's not good. Earlier it was not the mainstream, but now I can pretty confidently say that R&D is going to the mainstream. You must have listened to that news where Zoho CEO had stepped down from CEO, and now he's the chief scientist to focus on the R&D, right? And all these innovations, tech innovations, are coming from all these AI labs, right? So, it's not that just you will use foundation model and you'll do something and you will innovate. So for innovation, you have your basics has to be strong. Your mathematics or stats or all languages, etc. You need to be very solid at that. Your foundations had to be good, and that's how you would be able to innovate. So that's what I am also thinking of starting my PhD journey.
Okay.
In topic I'm yet to decide, but again because I've been doing this AI Gen AI for the past since decades. So my topic would be in this area only, but I'm thinking of doing PhD also. Yeah.
And do you also goes to attend some conferences or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll not say that I attend so many conferences, very limited ones, but yeah, I go to various colleges giving lectures or do panel discussions, etc. So that's a separate thing also. I'm continuing. I continue doing. But conferences, very limited. It's not that I go to a lot of conferences, etc. I prefer to read, more as compared to going to conferences. Yeah.
And do you prefer like a digital reading or still?
Digital reading.
Okay.
Digital reading. Yeah.
Yeah. And also like while reading so many things, right, going through the blogs, etc. and all, how do you confirm that information is correct? Because for example, yes, it is true with the generative AI that you have to validate, but here also if the content is written on the internet, there also some validation needed.
Yeah. So for that, if you are reading through some reputed ones, so first, if there is something like, for example, when I was at Upgrad, my rule was that anything that goes online should be technically correct. So if you are going through some reputed ones, so first or second level of check they must have already done. So that you can say that okay with confidence that okay to some extent, even if there might be some error, then it'd be 1 or 2% or 5%, not more than that. And then because you are reading same topic at multiple places, then you will and it's up to you. Whether you take it in complete sense or you do lot of factors, etc. So but again that's what like for example Analytics Vidya is a good one. Medium also publishes good articles. So there are lot many where you can go and refer. So that's what. Yeah.
Cool. And like if you just go back, or there are professionals which will be coming in this space, what is the advice or the piece of the information which you would like to share it with them?
Yeah, good. So first thing that I keep on saying is learn how to solve business problem first. Okay. So business problems or problem solving skill is the first skill that everyone should focus on, right? Because ultimately businesses don't care whether you are applying X algorithm or Y algorithm or Z algorithm to solve the business problem. What they care about is my business problem should be solved. I'm paying you to solve the business problem. I'm not paying you to apply whether it's a deep learning or machine learning or what technique you're applying, that's up to you. So that's why I'll say the first skill that one should focus on learning is problem solving skill. Second is as data scientist initially also I have overlooked, but over the period of time, over the experience, you learn that learning domains is very important.
Okay.
Because what happens is like most of the time this is the challenge, like tech guys don't understand the domain, domain guys don't understand the tech. And that's how for solving a business problem there has to be a marriage between domain and tech, right? And that's why if you as a techie, if you also start focusing little bit on learning domain, that would be very good, because then you can independently solve the business problem. I'm not saying that you should not consult domain guys, but the point is you should not be completely clueless about domain. If you're solving a problem related to banking or healthcare, you should understand how banking industry is making money, right? How healthcare operates. So you should understand the overall mechanism. So that's why all these techies or data scientists, they should also learn domain. It's not that domain learning is not important. Third, I'll suggest like focus on fundamentals.
Okay.
That is also one piece that I see missing nowadays.
Okay.
If we'll say that okay, build a random forest, solve this business problem using a random forest algorithm, they'll just write one line of code and you will get the output. But the point is, if we'll start asking questions on random forest, they won't have any clue.
Yeah.
But the point is, all these advancements of Gen AI, etc. Point is, unless your roots and fundamentals are not strong, you will not be able to do the innovation, and you will be completely dependent. And somebody who is strong at fundamentals, will obviously one or the other day will supersede you. So that's why it's very important to focus on the fundamentals. So that's all, and read a lot. Read a lot. So at least like let's say 3 or 4 or 5. Just give a target that I'll read 5 blogs a day, tech blogs or domain, etc. So that's what you should focusing on. So that's what my suggestion is. There's no shortcut to success. And reading is a must habit. And then also you should, like for example in corporate, if you are solving a particular business problem, most of the time it happens that you tend to work on that particular side for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even 10 years. It has happened like some of my friends are working in that particular domain for so long. So then you tend to miss what is happening on the other side. And that's why it's important to understand what is happening in the industry. And also you can continue leveraging sample data on the other industry and do POC at your end to increase your learning, so that you are not confined to what exactly you are doing at a job. And that's why it's important.
Madhukar, how about health?
Right. So I missed that point. Yeah. So it's very important, and that's what I remember having a conversation with one of my ex-colleague 10 years back, where I was saying him that like for example, normally how long your career would be, 30 years, 35 years, right? So if you think that in this complete 30-35 years of your career, you will never get a pink slip, then you are living in a fool's paradise.
Okay.
So you should be always ready for it. So I'm not saying that, I wish no one gets a pink slip, but the harsh reality is that, anyone can get a pink slip, not basis on performance, but basis business performance, XYZ reasons. Now AI is replacing, humans, etc., etc. And that's why, you may get a pink slip. Now the point is what you do once you get a pink slip. So point is you should be mentally ready for it. So they are, like for example, once you face this situation, how you will deal with it. So that's why it's very important to focus on your different aspects. Like for example, if you focus on your health, or like let's say for example you focus on running, you start focusing on running or cycling or swimming or different or any sports that you like, right? So if you are doing that, so that is also one, I'll say that's a stress buster. So for me, running, cycling, swimming, doing Ironman, all these events, this is my stress buster. So whenever I think too much, start thinking too much, and I miss my all these activities, then it becomes problem for me. And that's why and that's what I'm saying, for younger generation, you should pick one, at least one sport which you like, not necessarily that you have to do running, etc., etc. But point is, like let's say for example, if you love playing badminton or cricket or lawn tennis, so pick any particular sport and do that. So indulge yourself in that. So that's going to be a stress buster. Second, you should be ready for for any eventuality. Like for example, if you get a pink slip, what exactly you should be doing. So that's what you should be doing. You should continuously upskill yourself. That's what I say, that read a lot, read a lot many blogs, do different courses, learn domains, learn different skills, diversify yourself. That will help you in finding a new role, or maybe you get a new idea to do a startup, right? So that's why I think and surround yourself with positive people. That's very important. Yeah.
No, I think completely agree. That's the life, and it's like not everything can be planned.
Yeah.
And I see this is also from your own journey, right? So you have started a career, then you had a very good C-level executive roles, and then you like also start working more in the academic world, then also moved into the startup, also started taking care of health, defining the new dimension. So I think a very inspirational journey. And thanks a lot, Madhukar, for sharing it with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Kuldeep, for inviting me. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Techie Talks with Kuldeep. Do watch our previous episodes and subscribe to the channel if haven't done yet. Till next time, keep learning and keep exploring. Thank you.